Cascade Hoops Talk, this is Billy D. Hey, today we're going to jump over to the G-Pack. We're going to talk to Trent Miller. He's the head men's basketball coach. Morningside Mustangs. Buckle up. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Cascade Hoops Talk, produced in the shadow of the beautiful Cascade Mountains and bringing the world NAIA basketball. One podcast at a time. Today we have Trent Miller. He's the head men's basketball coach. Morningside Mustangs. They're there in Sioux City. They play in the G-Pack. They're just a perennial power year after year. They have been for many years. Trent Miller's a great guy. You're going to enjoy the conversation. Talking Mustang basketball. Let's take a listen to Trent Miller, head men's basketball coach, Morningside Mustangs. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Trent Miller here. He's the head men's basketball coach, Morningside Mustangs. Thank you, Coach, for being on.
Hey, Billy. Thanks for having me today.
So, let's talk a little about Morningside basketball. You've had a really good run there. You took over as head coach, I think, in 21-22. You're at I just counted up your wins. You're at 87. I'm not going to jinx you, but you're getting close to that first number. You've had just talk about, you played there. Talk about what it's meant to you to head up the Morningside Mustangs and have such a good run there.
It's something that we take a lot of pride in. Being a part of the program as a player, getting to play in Coach Sykes' system, experiencing the culture and the friendships and the teammates, and now having the chance to step back and be on staff myself. It's been really rewarding. But it's been a ton of fun, and we get to look forward to going to work every single day. And we've had a decent run with some really good kids, and that's just something we want to continue to try to build on. The foundation that was kind of set before us with Coach Sykes' program.
I wanted to ask you about that. So you when you took over, when you became head coach, that was a program with a long history. Everybody expects Morningside's going to be there at the end of the year, whatever that ends up, but they're going to be there in some fashion at the end of the season. That's an expectation. How much pressure do you feel, especially as an alumni of the program and now the head coach, to maintain that legacy?
Well, I think that's something where it's really a privilege to have any sort of pressure or expectations, but that's kind of the standard. That's the expectation. They really made that program into what it is today, and it's been fun to be a part of it. But we tell our guys all the time, you want to have a bullseye, you want to have an expectation that you're going to succeed or you're going to be a part of it come late March, and that's our goal. So I think we're very fortunate that that's kind of what we've got going on as far as any sort of pressure or expectations. That's just, it is what it is, and your job is just to go play, give everything you got, play selfless, and ultimately try to get something done in March.
Last season, you got through that tough G-Pack. If I remember right, you won the G-Pack tournament at the end of the season. You beat Concordia, and then you had to go up to Mishawaka, and you won the first game there, and then you ended up losing to the Pilots and Coach Draben. Just talk about your experience last year. It was a tough G-Pack battle, which it always is, and then going up to Mishawaka.
Last year was a ton of fun. But it was also, there were some roller coaster moments. We had a lot of experience back, which I think helped us in a lot of close games. When you're a younger team, there's a lot of times where you find yourself in the losing end of a tight game. And that experience is something that can really push you over the top. And we had a bunch of close games, but throughout the course of the year, ton of credit to our seniors, the Scoff, City, Buckley, Vanderloo group that just kept answering the call and really got us in a place late in March where we had a chance to go get the G-Pack tournament championship. And, they were playing some of their best basketball and give us an opportunity to go to the regional. And we ran into a really good Hope International team. I was extremely impressed with that program. And again, we played pretty well and got the win. And Coach Draben was playing at home at Bethel, and they got the best of us. And ultimately just a great guy who does things right. You can tell by the way his kids play. they had a front court that really bothered us. They were able to put two bigs on the floor at all times and really dominated us on the glass, and we weren't able to overcome that and walk out of there with a win. But looking at the season as a whole, just really, really proud of what my guys were able to accomplish. And some of those guys with the COVID thing had been with us for 5 seasons, and seeing them walk through the growth of where they started to kind of where they wrapped up. I was just very proud of what they got done.
So last season, you had to go into the start of the season without Eli Doble, who had just been phenomenal for you. This season, you're going into the season kind of the same way. You're going to lose Joey Scoff, 2 great players over a couple of years. You don't have Joey Scoff, but it's next man up, right? You got Brocale coming back, Caleb Dreckman coming back, and then a great freshman, Alex Wilkinson, who had a good freshman season. Talk about the players you have coming back and what you're building on.
Yeah, so, from an experience standpoint, those 3 guys have the most varsity minutes under their belt. And, Brocale was a guy for us that, averaging 15, was able to score in a lot of different ways, playing a little bit undersized at the 5 position, but his ability to stretch the floor has been, a tremendous asset for us offensively. And he's got a motor, and he fights like crazy defensively. And definitely has kind of taken over in a leadership role for us. In the absence of some of the seniors that we had last season, a really big place that needs to be filled. And I've been proud with kind of the development on his end in that regard. And with Caleb Dreckman and Alex Wilcoxon, again, both those wings, there's a lot of versatility there. Caleb's about 6'7", is able to shoot it with, high percentage and can play in the mid post a little bit. And Wilcoxon can handle the basketball. And he was a guy that moved into that 7th-man, 6th-man role towards the end of last season and really hit some timely shots, especially for a true freshman. So both of those guys have had tremendous growth over the past 5-6 months, which has been wonderful to see. And we're going to need them. We're going to lean on those guys heavily because they've got the most experience coming back.
And you and I were just talking a few minutes ago. You've got some young guys coming back that didn't see a ton of action last year, but you've been impressed with them so far in practice.
Yeah, we certainly got a ways to go, but we got some guys that are certainly in the mix and are putting their best foot forward in regards to getting into rotation and having meaningful minutes. A guy like Fitzy Grant had a really good freshman year for us, kind of in the developmental program, some swing varsity. He kind of ran into some sickness that sidelined him for a few months in the middle of the season that, kind of dictated some of that playing time, but has had a tremendous spring and summer and has taken a big step and is a guy that I think in transition and defensively can really impact right away. Guys like Derek Quinlan, some shooters from Maryville that we've got, again, have another year under their belt. These are some guys that we're excited to see where they go over the course of this season.
What were you looking for when you were out recruiting this season?
Well, after Draben brought multiple 6'8" guys in the front court and beat us so bad on the glass, we had to address, getting a little bit bigger. And, credit to Coach Hoskins and the rest of my staff. They do a tremendous job on that recruiting field, but we're able to snag a few guys that we think, are in that 6'7", 6'8" range as far as true freshmen that we think could be really big pieces of this moving forward. So that was definitely a focus for us going into this season. And I thought they did a nice job of identifying and landing some of those guys. In addition, we snagged some guys local that we think have potential to make an impact on our varsity, maybe sooner rather than later.
Okay.
A Caden Van Regenmorter is probably a name that you might see as a young guy for the Mustangs this year. But again, we're still in the process of making our rotations and figuring out our lineup at this time.
When you go out and recruit, do you try to lean more heavily on the high schools? I can't remember you picking up transfers.
Very seldom do we have a lot of transfers. I think the way of college basketball, that's going to continue to grow, and it has become a norm. And, certainly if the right fit or situation, turns up, we're always open to that. A guy like Holden Arneman is a point guard from West Branch, Iowa, but he spent last season at Mankato State. He's on our roster this season.
Okay.
That was someone that we recruited heavily out of high school that we were able to get back on our roster this year. We're excited to see what that looks like. As he continues to learn our system. But for the most part, we've been fortunate. We've had mostly high school guys that have made the decision to stick around for, 4 and with the COVID deal, 5 years at times.
I was talking to Coach Svagera about this as well. You're right there in a basketball hub there in Sioux City.
Yeah, we love our basketball down here. There's no doubt about it. There's been some tremendous high school programs and teams that have come out of this area, and some kids that have gone on and played, high level college basketball, and then also impacted immediate GPAC teams, right away. And so because of that, we're very fortunate that we have the support that we do. Our people are awesome and second to none. And when you get, BC and Morningside in a gym, you're going to have a packed gym every single time. Northwest Iowa, the basketball tradition is just great. You look at Northwestern and Dordt as well. When any 4 of those teams, any combination of those guys get together, there's a great turnout because the community really values the basketball, and there's enough people down here. We're very, very fortunate in that regard.
Talk about the GPAC. One thing, and I don't remember who I mentioned it to, but some of the most historic gyms, some of the funnest places to watch basketball are in that conference. Always bring up Dordt, probably a fun place for you to visit. Northwestern, same way, really tough place to play. Obviously, the Corn Palace, when you go over there to Briarcliff, it's probably fun for you. There's just, and I'm leaving them all out. I'm leaving several out, but there's a lot of historic gyms in the conference, isn't there?
There is. There's a lot of tradition. There's been a tremendous amount of coaches and players that have come through the conference. And again, very biased, having been a part of it for so long. But the truth is you get to some of these venues, and while they might not be the newest building in the world, gosh, you couldn't find a better gym to play basketball in. And the crowds are passionate. The expectations are high, and the rivalries are great. So, again, love the conference through and through. I think the coaches are second to none. You can look at the coaches that have been here. I mean, we just, this past season was probably the most turnover we've had. And a lot of those guys that are now head coaches, you look at Coach Koima, Coach Mickelson, they had already been in the league before. Yep. I just think I think that's really cool. I think it's different. I think it's special about the league, and it makes for fun basketball on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Okay, here's the $100,000 question. Every season, in fact, I make a joke out of it on the show every season. It's like 6 teams vying for the championship in the last weekend in the GPAC. Why is it always so close?
Yeah, I think everyone's very familiar with each other. We don't have a ton of transfers within the league just yet. So most of those guys have been battling for a number of years, and there's no night off. Any team can get you, and I think that's what makes it special. I think that's why it's so competitive. Very few years do guys or teams really, really separate themselves by 4 or 5 games. It's always tight. And, you got 3 or 4 of those teams ranked typically in that top 25 conversation from a national standpoint. So The level of basketball is pretty high. But I just think everyone's so familiar with each other. The amount of times they see them, it's extremely competitive.
This is probably not unique to the GPAC, but it seems like every time a team looks like it's going to break away a little bit, one of the lower teams that's struggling that year will come to their gym and beat them and just shock everybody and then throw everything back into turmoil. It's definitely fun to follow that championship run in the GPAC, but you got to eat a lot of Maalox during the season, I'm guessing.
Well, you certainly can't. You can't look ahead. That's a recipe for disaster. The second you think that you've established yourself and you start looking past people, you're absolutely going to get bit. And it just the coaches are too good. You just can't do it. Every game's a battle, and Yeah, that happens about every year. You think somebody's pulling away, and they might drop one, or they drop two, and it's game on for everybody. And whether you're third or you're second, you're not safe. You got to take it day by day, and that's something we preach in our locker room all the time. Whether it's the practice of this day, that's what we're dealing with. If it's the game of that day, that's what we're dealing with. And the second we start looking past it, usually doesn't end well for the Mustang.
So you've been doing this college basketball coaching about 5 years now. Well, number one, are you still having fun? Number two, what have been some of the surprises? I'm sure there was some initial surprises, but as you've kind of gotten your feet settled in here, what are some of the things that were harder to accomplish than you thought they'd be, and what were some of the things that you found easier to accomplish than you thought they'd be?
When you're in that head assistant chair, you kind of have all the ideas, and you don't have to take any public ownership for a loss or when things do blow up. And, I think that's something when you transition to the head chair, it's just different. Everything, the level of everything, and every decision you make is just different. And I had assumed at times that maybe it wouldn't be as hard to make a decision and just, kind of run with it, and maybe not weigh it as heavily or not think about all the things that can come from that decision. It just not recognizing maybe the weight of that role in the organization when you lead every single part of it. That to me was way different. I was so fortunate. One, in the leadership I got from Jim Sykes, and the leadership I'm still getting from him as an athletic director.
Right.
But two, we have had so many seasoned coaches in this conference, that were even there when I was playing against them. And, I had guys, like a Matt Wilbur, a Mark Sfagera, a Chris Corver, even, you think Danny Neville when Jamestown was a part of the league, he was a head coach right before me. They were so good. And I know I missed some people. They were so good about reaching out and just saying, hey, if you need anything, or, hey, listen, I really liked what you guys did here. Just from a mentor standpoint, I had a lot more confidence in what I was doing, because I also had some really good people around me within the league that, cared about how I was functioning, how my family was doing.
Wow.
And it makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah.
So as I look at, that transition going from assistant to head coach, I certainly would not have had that transition go as smoothly if I didn't have those people that were, kind of mentors in my coaching life that early on. And there were guys across the league kind of in the same deal that did that. So I was extremely fortunate. I think now, as I'm in it, Bill, you look at the daily preparation going into every game, and then recognizing how good some of these coaches are, and how disciplined you have to be successful continuously. Your margin for error is so small in a league that's good, and going against some of these guys in the non-conference that we have seen that have done it at such a high level. It's really made it very clear how disciplined and how consistent your team's got to be in order to win and stack games on top of each other.
Well, talking about being challenged, a couple days before Halloween, we're heading out to Indiana. You guys and Briarcliff, I'm going to head out there too. I'm going to cover the tournament, going out to play Grace and Huntington. And I tell you what, those Indiana fans love it when teams come from around the country, and they're going to be laying for you. Are you going to be ready?
Man, we're excited. We're thrilled. When Coach Moore, reached out to Sfagera and I and kind of pitched this idea, I think we thought on it for about 12 seconds. And this was the year, Scott wins the national title. I mean, we have so much respect for what they've got going on in the Crossroads. Again, you talk about tradition, history, and the talent level that those guys bring to the table it's incredible. And so when Scott pitched it, we jumped all over it. One, the idea of going and playing these venues, for me, that's something that's a bucket list thing for me.
Right, exactly.
I want to go see everybody. I want to go see where guys are playing and what facilities are like, what that home crowd's like. I want to challenge my guys. I want to challenge myself as we walk into some of these games where you're going, why did I schedule this? These dudes are incredible. But it's really kind of a bucket list deal. And we get the chance to do that with both Huntington and Grace, two programs that have consistently been top tier programs in the country. So really, really looking forward to that come Halloween.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I've been out to Grace. I think three times now. It's a beautiful facility. If you haven't been there, it's just unbelievable. And the Platt Center is completely remodeled. I can't wait to see that. I haven't been in there yet, but Indiana basketball, not taking anything away from anywhere else in the country, but Indiana basketball just hits different. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I guarantee you they're going to pack those houses. So you're going to guarantee 2 wins right now for your fans?
Hey, I guarantee the Mustangs will be there, and we're going to give everything we got. That's what I can guarantee, Bill. And here's the deal. I got a young group, but, man, I told them, boys, it doesn't get any better than this. I can't imagine not wanting the opportunity to go compete against the best every night, and
absolutely, yeah,
to go seek out these games. I get chills just thinking about it.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And these are teams that, they kick people's teeth in. They beat teams real. It's one of those deals where, we're going to have to be locked in. We're going to have to be disciplined. We're going to have to be ready to fight, because you're going to get their best look, and they're going to be at home. It's going to be packed. But again, this is why we do it. If I want a team that is competing in March, you have to go seek out these games. And, we did that last year going to Arizona Christian, and,
right.
They do such a great job, and they were able to get us late and win that game. And while it hurt to lose, it better prepared us for us to make a run through the GPAC tournament and then going into the regionals. So I'm really excited to do it. I'm thrilled that Scott reached out and even thought of us to be a part of it. And after that, we get Coach Hefker at Mid-American Nazarene, and Coach Gentry with Peru State. So we're excited with the non-conference slate that we've got this season.
Cool thing about that Indiana trip is next year they got to come out and visit you. So
they get to come to get to experience Sioux City, and that's a special place. So I know they're excited about it. It's kind of a destination spot, and that's why they reached out. So Mark and I, we're going to show them a good time. But yeah, we're thrilled that we get 2 more games, and I know the community is going to be excited to come out and watch.
Coach, I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes. I can't wait for basketball to start. We were talking before, I really enjoy GPAC basketball because that league is always so competitive. It's really fun to watch. I can't wait for you to get in action. We'll get you back on after the season starts.
Billy, always a pleasure, man. We really appreciate what you're doing. We love the podcast. A number of our guys listen to it. All of our coaches do. So we just thanks for what you're doing for NAIA basketball. The coverage is huge, and it means a lot. Well,
that's very, very kind. That means a lot. I appreciate that. That's Trent Miller. He's head men's basketball coach, Morningside Mustangs. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Billy.
Hey, thanks a lot to Trent Miller and to Morningside Mustangs. And as I said right there at the end, I do enjoy the GPAC. Every year there's 5 teams competing for that championship. It's one of the most exciting leagues in the country. Hey, thanks a lot to everybody. I want to say once more, appreciate everybody's support here in the early season. Talk to your friends, get them to subscribe to Cascade Hoops Talk, because remember, come the regular season, we do 5 days a week, and we cover all the top 25 and all the conference action 5 days of the week. So subscribe now to Cascade Hoops Talk. Avoid the rush. This is Billy D. We'll talk soon. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.